This next story is about resource class. When I was young, I had a really hard time learning. I had a horrible time reading. I had a horrible time focusing on math. As I got older, I found out that more than likely I struggle with um, the symptoms of ADHD, attention deficit disorder, whatever it is. On TV one day they were talking about the symptoms of ADHD, and I'm like, oh, I identify with 13 of those 15. Anyway, when I was young, I had a really hard time learning. And I used to kind of refer it as dyslexia, but it was similar to that because I struggled definitely with comprehension, and I would skip and read. I wouldn't read a continuous sentence. But I had a hard time reading up until I was probably 35 years old. I had a horrible time reading. It was really a struggle for me. So they always wanted me in resource class. They wanted to put me in resource class so I could learn and become like the other students. And I always kind of thought I was stupid back then. And they would kind of treat you that way. Maybe the other kids would treat you that way a little bit too, I don't know. But I always felt like, I always felt less than the really smart kids. But of course, later in life, I learned how to learn my way, and I'm pretty smart. So, but I was always assigned to the resource class, and I hated it because you're kind of in there with kids that are slower or have learning disabilities. But I do appreciate that they did put me in that because they were trying to help me. I just was embarrassed by it. So when I would take my tests at school in elementary, they would tell me that I would qualify one day to become a janitor. I thought that's kind of weird. I don't really want to become a janitor. That was kind of a low thing to achieve. Now, I don't have anything against janitors at all, because janitors keep things clean for us, keep restrooms clean, they keep schools clean. No disrespect whatsoever there, but they said I wasn't going to amount to much, basically. Well, eventually, I got a job at McDonald's when I was 16, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about that. But I got a job at McDonald's when I was 16, and guess what I was? I worked as a cook primarily, and I was also their best janitor. So I would come in the mornings and clean and open up and clean all the bathrooms down. My mom and dad always taught me to work as hard as I could for the people that I worked for, make myself worth what they're paying me. But now when I pull up to the McDonald's and I see people working there, I tell them about my story about how I worked at McDonald's and I was one of their janitors. I wasn't a janitor. I was just one of the employees that they asked me to do, cleaning tasks like janitorial tasks. But I always tell them I made lots and lots and lots and lots of money mopping floors. When I see the guys in McDonald's and they're mopping floors, I always tell them, hey, that's how I started. So the story behind that is I became a roofer when I was about 22-ish. And as part of roofing, you have to mop hot roofs or hot tar and gravel roofs. I made a lot of money mopping tar and gravel roofs. Lots and lots of money. It helped me buy my home. It helped me buy my property. It helped me create jobs for hundreds of people. But the start at McDonald's and cleaning as a janitor, as they told me I would do, or I could do when I was in elementary, and how I tested in junior high and elementary, that I could eventually become a janitor or something like that, a low skilled laborer. I made a lot of money being a roofing contractor, and I've loved it. It's fed my family, and I'm very appreciative of that. But the point here what I've learned here from this has been, just because somebody tells you that you're not going to be a very high quality employee in the future, it's more about heart. What heart do you have? How hard are you willing to work, and how smart are you willing to work? So the resource class was embarrassing to me, and I refused to go to it when I was in high school. And I've had a lot of struggles learning. But I have learned now how to learn, and I'm very smart and intelligent learning the way that I learn. So it's been a lot of fun.